Welcome to the Hot Cakes Podcast. I am your host, Kid Bagheera, and this is brought to you by Black Rain Books. Go cop that Ravenous if you haven't done so. 306 pages of straight heat about black vampires. You can directly contact me or you can get it off Amazon. Just search Black Rain, Ravenous, Kid Bagheera in books, and it'll pop right on up. Link is in bio. If you have any problems trying to find it on Amazon, just let me know. I got you. So, without further ado, this is Kake 17, Western Conference, Game 1 recap. So, that was a game. If you didn't see it, you did miss a thriller. It was a very, very good game. The final was 108 to 105. Mavericks, they take Game 1, they take home court. So, we're definitely going to wait to see if Minnesota can respond. I know they're capable of responding. They have responded all playoffs. I definitely counted them out against Denver. And I didn't think they was going to beat Phoenix. You know, winning one game, that's no big deal. But sweeping them, that's something completely different. You know what I mean? I didn't see that coming. For me, at this point, I've seen enough. Ant-Man is here. He's one of the very few that had next, but it ain't no more next. It's now. Far as the ones who got now, for me, he is one. Like I said, he's one of the few, and of the four teams that's left, him, Halliburton, those two are now. Tatum is already now. Luka is already now. Those two are now at the table with them. And I believe Shy would be that fifth player at the table if it's only a 5-player table. I would kind of stretch it to 10. I think you can have 10 guys that got now that every year they have that potential to win if everything goes right, because a lot has to go right. You know what I mean? It's not just one thing, it's multiple things. So anywhere from 5 to 10, you know what I mean? And of course, you don't want to have 20 guys at the table. No. It's a very short list. But anyway, so with that being said, I do believe Minnesota can bounce back and get home court advantage back. I do believe after 4 games, it'll be tied 2-2. I do believe that because Minnesota has a lot they can build off of, right? Jaden McDaniels, to me, as far as the starters, he's the only one that played well from a shooting standpoint, from a scoring standpoint. He was 9 of 15, 6 of 9 from 3, 24 points. This man had averaged 10 during the season. So, you know, what are we talking about, right? So the last 3 games, I believe he's averaged 20. So he's had 20 plus in the last 3 games. So you can build off that. Encourage him to score more, obviously, to give your stars help. Cat didn't have a good game shooting-wise, 6 of 20, 2 of 9 from 3. And in the second half, they had a lot of in and outs. I don't know what that was about, but, you know, that's just how it goes. You know, Cat had 16 points. Like, he's better than that. You know what I mean? Like, personally, I think he's a bitch. I think he's soft. However, he still can score more. You know what I mean? Like, point blank, period. You know, Ant-Man only had 19, 6 of 16 from the field, 5 of 12 from 3. He did have 11 rebounds and 8 assists, so that's great. Like I said, he had a bad shooting night, but he still had a good game overall. He had a few in and outs as well. And, I mean, going into the fourth, he only had 13 points. He got 2 threes. That's how he ended up with 19. So It wasn't like he was really just, doing his thing offensively. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like how he's been doing. He's gonna have to bring it. He's gonna need to score 30 plus. He's gonna have to. And the only way they win without him scoring 30 plus is if Cat is in the mid to late 20s and Jaden keeps scoring 20, which he's very capable of doing because you got very good production from Nas Reed, 5 of 9 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3, 15 points. You also got good production from Kyle Anderson, 5 of 8 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3. That's not great, but 11 points off the bench. Like, they both was getting busy when they was in there. You know what I mean? So that is stuff that you can build off of and move forward with. And obviously, those are positives moving forward. You know what I mean? So that is a great thing, So Ant-Man just got to step it up a little bit now. Something that we have to monitor is Ant-Man may be like nicked up. I'm not gonna go as far to say he's hurt, but he may be a little nicked up. He was grimacing a little bit in the game, especially in the fourth. He was getting tired, he was getting gassed, so that nick may had a little to do with that. So that's something we got to monitor, you know what I mean? So, but other guys stepped up offensively, so and they had the perfect opportunity to win. There was 3 plays for me that lost the game, so to speak. One being kind of like a fast break and not knowing what to do with the ball, and Jaden jumped out of bounds trying to pass it and ended up just passing it to Luka. Conley did, I think he was trying to do a lob and somebody snatched it, and then the refs did hose them. Cat did not do offensive goaltending or offensive interference. So they got hosed out of 2 points right there. You know what I mean? So you clean little shit like that up, you good to go. You know what I mean? So it's not something that can't be corrected. You know what I mean? Those things can be corrected, and even when the refs do fuck you, you know what I'm saying, no Diddy, you can recover because you're not making these silly mistakes. You know what I mean? Like turnovers in the fourth quarter, you cannot have them, especially down the stretch. Like you just cannot have them. And if Minnesota does want to win and go on to the finals to see if they can bring one home, they're going to have to bring it because Kyrie had 24 in the first half. You know what I mean? Now, granted, he only scored 6 more in the second half, but it didn't matter because Luka was coming with him. You know what I mean? Luka had 33, and for the most part, nobody else really scored like that for them. Like PJ had 13, Jones had 8, Gadford had 10. They was getting collection from everybody. You know what I'm saying? Hardaway didn't even attempt a shot. You know what I mean? But he had 4 rebounds. I'm sure at least one of them was offensive. So, that's still production. You know what I mean? You always need rebounds, no matter if they're offensive or defensive. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, Kyrie single-handedly kept them in the game, especially in the first half, because in the first half, Minnesota was on one. Jaden scored most of his points in the first half. Like, he was on it. But Kyrie was keeping in the game. He was also eating from the free throw line. He had, how many free throws he had? Because he did a lot, though. Let me see real quick. But yeah, I don't know how. Kyrie had, he did 6 of 6, but that's not a lot. But the point is, he was still eating from the free throw line, and he hit 2 clutch free throws at the end of the game. And on top of that, in key moments, he had free throws and whatnot. So definitely, Kyrie kept them in the game, and then Luka finished it. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you want it to be. You got 2 stars. You going back and forth, 1-2 punch, and that's really what it was. Because it was looking like Minnesota was going to take off. Like, they jumped out to an early lead, and here come Minnesota come crawling or clawing back, whichever one you want to call it, and that was that. You know what I mean? And Kyrie was leading that force in the first half. You know what I mean? That's the fur baby, so just ignore him. He's a little restless, but anyway, we ain't worried about that. And you know, Luka had, it was some, yeah. But anyway, because Luka's a bitch. I don't fuck with Luka. He's a whole bitch. He always crying to the refs and shit. But like I said, he did have, I think, 33. Yeah, he had 33. So, you know, hey, he had 8 assists, 3 steals, 6 rebounds. So, you know, he had a pretty good game. You know, without him, they would have definitely lost. So, for this series, I do believe it's gonna go 7. And if it doesn't, that game 6 definitely is going to come down to the wire like this one did. But I think Minnesota can pull it off. I do. I would still, if you bet on Minnesota, you still good. Until Dallas wins 3 games, you good. You know, obviously if Minnesota goes down 0-3, it's over with. However, you good until Dallas wins 3. So right now you still sitting pretty. You still good. It's no big deal. You know what I mean? Because again, the issues for Minnesota can be cleaned up. And long as Ant-Man isn't hurt, you good. If you pick Dallas, you sitting pretty. Obviously, you feel good. You stole home court. You're probably thinking, okay, we did what we needed to do. We got one. We ain't worried about game 2. Whatever happens, happens. We coming back to the crib to get both. And we going back to Minnesota to close out. Like, that's your thought process, right? Cool. Now, if you're on the fence and you haven't made a bet one way or the other, depending on who you bet with, all this and that, if you still got time, you know, you could pick, you still could pick your decision one way or the other. You know what I mean? It's still 50-50 right now. It's not clear cut for either side. You know what I mean? So I would just do a safe bet. Something that you're not concerned about losing. You know what I mean? If a 50 piece ain't shit to you, go for it. If a 100 piece ain't shit to you, go for it. You know what I mean? Whatever the case may be. And then you can also do like sub bets. You know, if is Ant-Man gonna score over 30, or can Luka score over 30 again? Is Kyrie gonna? Are they both gonna have 30? You know, little shit like that. You know what I mean? Make it fun, make it interesting, whatever the case may be. Obviously, you wouldn't bet that high on the sub bets, but maybe you do about anywhere from 5 to 10 sub bets, and then, you know, you'll at least come out with at least half, you know what I mean? Depending on how many you do, whatever, and then you make some more money like that. Because you may not win in the overall. I know for me, I'm not betting this round. After last round, getting waxed, you know what I mean? No Diddy happened to pay out. Even though I did win the first round, you know, so it's all good. But with this one, I just don't know. It can go either way. For me, I do not fuck with Duke players at all. And obviously Kyrie is a Duke player, so I would pick against him every time. However, I'm just now finding out, my brother just told me, I didn't even know this, Minnesota has a Duke player. So now I'm like, I don't know. So, I mean, obviously one of them is going to win, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. So, we will definitely see, but that is your recap of game 1. Once again, 108-105, Dallas. Dallas leads the series 1-0. And that is that.